Good morning, everyone. Mr. DeJoseph here, welcoming you all to another great day. Please take your seats. Hey, you have a late pass? I saw you coming in late. All right, just be on time. No, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to go get one. Just be on time next time. Okay? That's all I got to say about that. Now, as we move on here, before we move to form part three, it should say, what happened there? Why did one of my eyes go away? This is form part three, not part two. Yeah. Morning moment from Mr. DeJoseph right there. Sorry about that. Normally I call them Monday moments, but it's not Monday today, so I have no excuse. Okay. Anyway, bro. Anyway, so we're going to be talking today about the mystery form. Ooh, and I'll have you try to guess what that's going to be in a second. But first of all, Uh, I have a couple of shout outs to give, and I also want to say that if you are a Black Day class, I had another Monday moment, only it was on Wednesday. And somehow, I don't know how this happened, but somehow I did not attach the listening examples for your class on Wednesday. So I have to just say I'm so sorry about that. And I've included them here for you. Now, if you are an Orange Day class, I did not forget to do that for you. So you probably won't see that on your assignment list. But for Black Day classes, for rounds, cannons, and no, for what do we do? Binary, ternary, and rondo. For binary, ternary, and rondo, I have included those examples for you to listen to as well, in addition to the examples for today. I recommend that someone asked me, is it mandatory that we listen to these? And I would say, I mean, it's not mandatory in the sense that um, there's no way for me to tell whether or not you do it. So it's not like I'm taking off points if you don't listen to them, but it is mandatory in the sense that I really do recommend that you listen to them, or at least as many of them as you can for as long of them as you can. And some of them are going to be long. You'll see like some of today's are quite long. So, I don't expect you to listen to a 20-minute piece or an hour-long symphony or things like that. Although if you do, I think that's great. I think you'll be better for it. But I understand you got other work to do. You have your math and language arts and everything else that you got to do. But if you could do as many of them for as long as you can, I think it ultimately benefits you, you know? And if it's a short one, if it's like 2 to 10 minutes or like 1 to 10 minutes, then yeah, listen to the whole thing. Why not? Especially if you have time during our class time to do it, then you should do it, you know? You should listen to as much of it as you can for however long our class is. Maybe you got to get to another class. Maybe you have a teacher who's doing a live class and you got to get to it after my class. I get that. But just listen to as many of them for as long as you can. Okay. Now, to the shout outs. I got a shout out. I said in our last video that if you could tell me what oboes, English horns, bassoons, and contrabassoons had in common, that I would give you a special shout out. And I had a handful of people here who did that. What do they all have in common? Well, these people correctly guess that oboes, English horns, bassoons, and contrabassoons are all in the woodwind family. But even more than that, more specifically, because I would have given you a shout out if you just said that. That is true. But these people not only got that, but they also got the more specific detail that all of those instruments have in common. And that detail is that they are not only are they all woodwinds, they are all double reed woodwinds. Double reeded woodwinds. Okay, and the following people got that correct. I wrote their names down here. I have Davin Shin. Congrats, Davin. That was a great response you gave me there. And JL, I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. I don't think I've ever said it out loud before, but it's JL Tesorius. Congratulations, JL. You know who you are. You knocked that one out of the park. Christian Sen with the correct answer there. And I know him, you know him from period 1 on B days. Aiden Goldschlinger. Congrats, Aiden. You got that right. Well done, men. Well done. Appreciate it. Appreciate the responses. You got them right. Okay. Let's move on and let's talk about what our mystery form is. Okay, so let's try to guess what our mystery form is here. This form involves a single melody, only one melody. We've had a lot of the forms that we've had so far have been like that, so we're not really getting, that's a little bit too general. We need to know more. This melody is presented to us first in a simplistic way, meaning a very basic presentation of the melody. Probably, I guess you could say as simple as it possibly could be most of the time. That's how it's first presented to us. But then the melody is presented to us over and over again, each time in a different way. So we have a lot of repetition in this type of form. That's another clue. Okay, sorry. I got the beard growing in. The beard is growing in. Sorry about that. It keeps itching me. That doesn't have anything to do with the form though. So the melody is presented over and over again, each time in a different way. We're getting closer to the answer here. Okay, I wrote a lot of words here. What did I write here? Some of the different ways that the melody could be presented to us differently is by changing the tonality, by which I mean, because I don't think we've said this vocab word tonality before, but what I mean by tonality is that if the theme is presented to us first in a major key, then a way to do a variation on that, a way to present that in a different way to us is to change it to a minor key. So if we start in major and we want to present the melody differently, one way we can do that differently is by making it minor. Or contrary-wise, if we start in minor, a way that we could do it differently would be to switch it to major. Okay, that would make sense. Another way you could do it differently is by augmenting the value of the notes. And what does that word mean, augment? What does it mean to augment something? To make it larger, right? So if I have a melody that's all in eighth notes and quarter notes, then a way that I can augment those notes is by changing it from eighth notes and quarter notes to half notes and whole notes. Okay, that could be a way that I could augment the melody. I could also diminish the value of the notes. So if I have a piece and the notes are half notes and whole notes, then I can diminish the value of those notes by switching it to eighth notes and quarter notes. Okay, I could change the style. Okay, that's a commonly used one there. You could change the style, meaning if I give you a theme, maybe I can switch it to be a jazz style. I could change it to be a Latin style, kind of make it have a Latin feel. I could, there are many different styles that you could change it to, and there are different examples of this. I mean, just look up any song and then put the name of a genre and then cover, right? Do Blackpink, Kill This Love, rock cover. That's changing the style, right? From K-pop to rock, but it's the same song. Okay, that's an example of that. You can do that with any song in any genre. Um, let's see. You all know I love Blackpink, so that's why I said that. Let's see. You could do it by arpeggiating the melody. With that, we're going to do musical theory in the near future, but without going into it too deeply now and confusing you, basically what I mean by arpeggiating is that every chord in music is broken up into 3 different notes, and this is called the triad. And what you can do is you can change a melody by, instead of just playing the note of the melody, you could break it up into its chord components and play those 3 notes in a row instead of just playing the one. Okay, if you don't understand that, don't worry too much. We'll talk about it when we get into theory. Right now, we're just in form. You could change the accompaniment part, so you could keep the melody exactly the same, but make the background different. That's another way you can do it. You can change the melody almost entirely, but keep the basic chord structure the same. This is another way that you can do that, that you can change the melody when you repeat it in this mystery form. And there are many, many, you know, I don't know if I want to say an infinite amount of ways, but a lot of ways that you can change the melody so that it is different each time you present it. Okay, these are just some of the ways. So what would you call this? What would you call this mystery form? What would you call a form where you are presented with a theme and then various different variations on that theme? What would you call a theme where you are presented with a theme and then variations on that theme? Pause this video, take a minute, and write down what you don't have to do it on the computer, just write down on it could be even on a napkin. Write down what you think. Theme and variations on the theme. Theme and variations. Theme and variations. Theme and variations. I feel like I'm that Patrick meme where he's like, first we're going to take the theme and then we're going to make the variations. Theme and what would you call this form? Theme and variations. If you guess theme and variations, you are correct. Okay, that's what it's called. Simple enough, right? And there are many different pieces that use this form, many such cases, and we're going to go over a few of them right now, okay? But it should be known that this is a commonly used form going all the way back to the 18th century and possibly even before that. We're talking 1700s here. And let's talk about right now some of the more well-known pieces of music that use this form. Once again, just like ternary last time, most are going to be in classical music, so those are the examples that I gave, although it is possible, I suppose, to have it in other genres as well. But let's check it out. Okay, so the first piece that I'm going to have you listen to is a piece by the great composer from the classical era. You know him, you love him, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Don't call him Mozart. I know his name doesn't have a T in it, but in the German, whenever you have a vowel followed by the letter Z, you get the TZ pronunciation, so it's Mozart, Mozart. So Mozart, you probably have heard before. He's, maybe the most famous composer of all times. And he wrote a very well-known theme and variations. It's called 12 Variations on A voudrais-je maman. So actually, that's a song that we all know. You grew up listening to it, and you probably know all the words. So I don't even need to... What? You've never heard of A voudrais-je maman? Really? Well, we used to sing it all the time as kids, so it's okay. Well, here, let me say this. Just like we did this last time, I gave a special shout out to people who got that answer right last time. Listen to 12 variations on A voudrais-je maman, and let me know where you know this melody from, because I can see you probably are not familiar with that title, but I would be shocked if you weren't familiar with the melody. So what alternate title do you know for A voudrais-je maman? There are 3, possibly more, but 3 at least acceptable answers to this question. Where do you know A voudrais-je maman from? Okay, moving on to the other examples here. We have Charles Ives' Variations on America. Okay, the theme that is used for this is a melody that has many different titles, actually. In our country, the technical name for it is America, although almost everyone knows it as My Country 'Tis of Thee. So that is your theme there. If you are from England or the Commonwealths thereof, you probably know it as God Save the Queen. I think there's even a French, it's also a French patriotic song as well. And actually, I know it's an Austrian one as well. So lots of different countries use this melody for their patriotic songs. Pretty interesting. But this one is by Charles Ives. Charles Ives is a very interesting guy. He was not just a composer, he was an insurance salesman from Connecticut. Sounds kind of like mild-mannered, doesn't it? But he wrote a lot of great pieces, and like many artists and musicians, composers, what have you, did not really get the respect and the accolades that he probably deserved until after his death, which is always very sad. Another artist like this, you might have heard of the famous painter Vincent van Gogh, who I think I heard a while back that a painting of Van Gogh sold at auction for like $45 million or something like that. So this guy was probably rich and famous and had a lot of wealth during his life, right? No, actually, do you know how many paintings that Van Gogh sold during his lifetime? 1. And it wasn't for that much. So his legacy was forged after his death, and that's the case, like I said before, many such cases. Anyway, we got to move on here. John Barnes Chance wrote the Variations on a Korean Folk Song. Okay, so you might want to listen to that and tell me what the folk song is here, and listen to all of the different variations that John Barnes Chance does. Now, I would say those 3 you can listen to. You should listen to the whole thing. These next three, I would say listen to the whole thing if you have the time. They're quite long compared to the other ones, but well worth it, I think. You will get a lot out of listening to them, even if you only listen to a few minutes of each. I'm talking about Johannes Brahms' Variation on a Theme of Haydn. Okay, this is a very famous piece of classical music. You actually hear it on the radio quite often if you listen to 105.9 WQXR, which I recommend. You should have that in your presets in your car. The theme, actually, musicologists have discovered that it was not actually by Haydn, but Brahms didn't know that when he wrote this piece, so it's variations on a theme of Haydn. Speaking of Haydn, he wrote the next theme in Variations. His Emperor String Quartet is written in the style of a theme in Variations, so take a listen to that. These are all linked below for you, by the way. And then finally, my personal favorite, Edward Elgar's Enigma Variations. This is a lengthy one, but I would recommend that you listen to the first couple of movements of this, and then make sure, don't do this before listening to the beginning. Listen to at least the theme first, and then do yourself a favor, maybe even want to get mom and dad around to listen to this piece. Get cozy, get a cup of hot chocolate, sit by your fireplace, and listen to movement number 9, which is subtitled Nimrod. Nimrod. The movement 9 of the Enigma Variations is one of the most glorious and awe-inspiring pieces of classical music, in my opinion, that's ever been written. So do that. Get cozy. Just start vibing, listening to the Enigma Variations, okay? Especially movement number 9. But don't listen to movement number 9 before you listen to at least the theme at the very beginning, okay? Alrighty. It's scavenger hunt time, people. It's scavenger hunt time. Okay, so what you're going to do right now, I don't have a review sheet for you. I don't have 5 questions for you today. Today, what you are going to do is you are going to find me an example of each of the forms that we have talked about so far. So what does that mean for you? That means you are going to find me one round, one canon, one fugue, one piece of music in binary form, one piece of music in ternary form, one piece of music in rondo form, and one variation. What's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? I think that's 7, if I'm not mistaken. So, wait, hold on. Carry the divided by the square root. Okay, yes. One of each. Only caveat here is you may not use a piece of music that we have listened to already in a previous lesson. There are different ways that you can do this. You could look up, you say like, hey, what are songs in binary form, right? And then you could probably find a bunch. That way you can listen to various different songs and then see what form, if any of them match the form that we've been talking about in class. You can look at the different clues from in these definitions that we listened to. Go back and listen to the other videos from our other lessons and see if maybe you already know music that's like that off the top of your heads. Maybe you can look at the composers and say, hey, did Bach write any other fugues? Hint, hint, yes, he wrote many. Okay, so you can do it that way. There's many different ways you can do it. All you have to do is give me one example of each form that we've talked about: a round, a canon, a fugue, binary, ternary, rondo, oops, and all the other ones, okay? So that's what you're going to do right now. But keep in mind, that there will be a quiz next week on form. Okay, so if you have this class on a black day, you will have your quiz on Tuesday, April 21st. And if you have class on an orange day, your quiz will be on Wednesday, April 22nd. And the quiz will just be on what we've learned about form so far. So we've had 3 different lessons on form. Anything in those videos is fair game. Look at your review questions that you've had from that already. Watch the videos over, pause and rewind, do it, listen to them as many times as you need to, and that will help to prepare you for the quiz. The quiz won't be long, but any information that's so far has been in these videos will be on it for you, okay? And then I'll have, if you happen to finish the quiz early, I'll have stuff for you to do as well, okay? But that's coming up. Just wanted to let you know before you know, we take a break here and you get to your next class that those are the dates for that. If you have any questions, please let me know. My office hours, once again, are every day, Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. And let me know if you want to do a Google Hangout, if you have a question that maybe you've asked it and I've answered it, but the answer is you're still confused by it. Sometimes those questions are better asked face to face. So let me know if you want to do that and we can set that up. And until next time, take care and comb your hair. Take care. Goodbye.